Welcome to Decades of Horror, the classic era.
Here, a little something to take the soreness out. I think I'll join you. I don't feel too good myself.
This is episode 170, recorded February 4th, 2024.
Gruesome Magazine.
Thanks.
Well read, Daphne.
Thank you, Chad.
All right, I am your host, Jeff Mohr, and on this podcast, we cover the good, the bad, and maybe even the ugly horror films released since the beginning of time through 1969. In each episode, we'll discuss the monsters, spirits, psychos, and villains that have haunted movie-going audiences since the dawn of film history. With me this week are my incredible co-ghosts. First up is Chad Hunt, co-host of Decades of Horror, the all of them, comic book artist and writer.
Part-time
Do I
pilot.
ask, how are you? How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Having a little eye issue where I can't see or do the quote on the show, but
Okie doke.
just temporary, hopefully.
But you still have your wits about you.
Huh?
Also,
Okay.
with us is Daphne, who is awesome, stupendous, likable as hell. Daphne, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing real good. I'm really looking forward to hanging out with you guys and talking about this movie.
Yeah, me too. And last but not least, Doc Rotten, the one and only. How you doing, Doc?
I'm doing good. Oh, got a little Dracula action going on. Little
We
pew,
do.
pew, pew, pew.
We do. And by the way, Decades of Horror, the classic era, is partnering with Play Now Media. And you can see our episodes on their streaming channels, Classic Horror Movie Channel, the Classic Sci-Fi Movie Channel, and the Wicked Horror TV Channel. Yeah. Did that sound like I didn't know what I was talking about? In fact, today's episode is on that channel. Classic Horror, right?
Yes.
I think so, yeah. That's where I watched it.
It was. And it's a very good transfer, I thought, myself.
I watched it well on it. Yep.
Anyway, spoiler alert. We'll be doing a movie that's almost 60 years old, and we just, forget how old it is. This is a spoiler podcast. We just don't, we're not careful at all. So we're going to spill the beans. If you haven't seen this movie, you should probably go watch it right now. So let's get into some details here. Billy the Kid versus Dracula, released in 1966. That is one of the characters that appears frequently in this movie.
Excellent choice.
It's Willie.
It looks like he's wearing the hat. I'm telling you, it looks like he's wearing that.
It totally looks like he's wearing the hat.
Yeah, it does. He goes into a cave, he goes into the bar, he goes into the ranch house. Anyway, directed by William Bodine, written by Carl K. Hittleman as Carl Hittleman, but I saw something somewhere that Jack Lewis actually wrote this and sold it to Hittleman for $250. So I found that kind of interesting. The cast includes John Carradine, Chuck Courtney, Melinda Casey, billed as Melinda Plowman, Virginia Christine, Olive Carey, Bing Russell, and a cast of great character actors. The production company is Circle Productions, Inc. It was distributed by Embassy Pictures, shot in Raleigh Studios in LA, and on the Corriganville set on the Ray Corrigan Ranch in Simi Valley. Filming dates June 22nd to July 9th, 1965. And I think I read that it was shot at the same time as Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter, and that those dates was the total time for both movies.
I can see
it was released April 10th, 1966, and the synopsis. Dracula travels to the American West intent on making a beautiful ranch owner his next victim. Her fiance, outlaw Billy the Kid, finds out about it and rushes to save her. I just love that bat.
the gentleman bat.
Well, they didn't really bother having him flap his wings. They just had him like he just
glide around,
glide right into everything.
which I'm glad they did. I'm glad they did that.
Yeah, it was wonderful seeing that.
So, time for first impressions, and this was Chad's pick, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So, when did you first see this, buddy?
I
What do you
first
think
saw
about
this a couple of weeks ago when we said we were going to do it. I did. I've always heard of it, and I was like, I always thought it was one of those Dracula versus Frankenstein type.
Right.
That it was
Right.
just going to be stupid and cheesy, and I was like, I'm not watching that crap. But I watched this and really, really loved it. It was like watching an episode of Bonanza that had Dracula in it.
It was.
That's a better way to put it. Oh my god!
I mean, the way it was shot and the way it was, the actors were, and the way everything was set up, it looked exactly like a TV Western. And that was just amazing. I loved the characters in it. I loved Billy the Kid. It was not a cheapo production. It was had a good story. It had a good and it took itself pretty seriously, and that's what got me about it. There was no super corny dialogue, and I just loved it. You know, I've always thought horror and westerns went together well, and I like horror westerns for the most part, and so, but I don't like it to be corny or stupid or anything like that. That's why I never watched it, and I was just totally shocked by how much I did like it. It was really, really well done, and of course, John Carradine as Dracula, he looked way better than he did in the House, Universal's House movies as Dracula, and he just looked more menacing and more evil, and I love that. And it was a fun watch. A little over an hour, about an hour and a half or something, and just a very fun watch. This is going on my list of all-time faves.
Oh wow! Nice.
Because I've really, really had a good time watching it. So
It is. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's 75 minutes, I think.
yeah, okay.
Perfect time. I mean, it didn't need to be any longer.
Mhm.
Right. Didn't feel long at all. Felt about right. Daphne, how about you? Had you seen this before?
Nope. I had wanted to see it because with a title like that, it's
No.
it's it's going to be good, but I didn't realize it was going to be this good. I just fell in love with it. I thought it was wonderful. I definitely want to get the Blu-ray. I wish that I could watch it with my Opa because he loved horror. He didn't like horror movies necessarily. He liked westerns. He loved westerns, and I kind of have a warm spot in my heart for westerns because of him. But it would have been great fun watching it with him. I would love to have seen his reaction with Dracula in a Western movie. But it was so much fun. And I thought that the actors did a really good job. And like Chad said, it was taken seriously. And that just made it great, not cheesy. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thank you. Doc, how about you?
Oh, this is one of the ones I would have sworn I'd seen it way back in the day, like on a Saturday afternoon, but I couldn't, other than John Carradine's look and face. I don't know if I could tell you anything about this movie. So it was like watching it new, to the point that I almost questioned if I actually ever did watch it. But I'd always kind of thought of this as, one of those, worst movies kind of things, because even John Carradine, is quoted to say that he thought it was one of the worst movies he ever acted in. And I'm like, have you seen some of the movies? But you guys are entirely right. It really does have. It has a movie. I mean, it doesn't feel theatrical as some of the
Right.
60s movies. It's not like all those very theatrical Hollywood films. It doesn't have anything to do with it. It feels like a TV Western that's a little jazzed up a bit with some Dracula goodness in it. It fast paced, great characters, great interactions. They take it as seriously as they need to. They have all this backstory going on with the Billy the Kid character and the ranch he's at and the girl that he likes, and it all comes together. It's kind of, I didn't really think of it, but when you said it was Bonanza, you said it's like Bonanza with Dracula in it, or Gunsmoke with Dracula in it, and that's exactly how it feels. That's the greatest description of this at all. And I was shocked. I was like, I thought this was supposed to be like a big dud. No, this is fun. It's silly, but it's fun. It's not poorly made. It has great lighting. It does have the rubber vampire, as you saw in the thing, but they all did. So if you love your Universal movies, there's no reason not to love this one because of the rubber vampire, or even the Hammer ones. Have you seen the bats in the? Yeah. But Carradine is absolutely fantastic in this, especially when he's trying to hide that he's a vampire. Is when he's really the best. The widow's peak hanging down, and or when he gets exposed and they have that red lighting from up under him.
Yeah.
Wow, that was so good.
The only weird thing about it is that he's so creepy, but not in the scary way. He's creepy in the ooh.
Yes.
Way.
In the pervy way.
In the pervy way. It's kind of like that. I mean,
I think that's kind of what Billy the Kid said.
It's kind of like that
I got a good feeling of it.
creepy uncle that always wants you to sit on his lap when you during Thanksgiving and Christmas, right?
Yeah, the uncle relationship was definitely weird.
Yes.
Weird vibes.
Very strange. But I was like, oh my god, I'd love to see this in a theater with a big crowd laughing it up and having a great time with it, because it's a blast. Yeah. Whoa, wow.
Yay.
Who knew?
I think if they had tried to play it for laughs or it wouldn't have worked.
Oh,
it wouldn't have worked at all. But because they took themselves very seriously with it, even though this is the cheesiest thing or premise ever. They took it seriously. That's what made it fun. To me.
All right, thanks, Doc. This is a movie that I have heard of since I was a kid, or I don't know, I guess I would have been like in 8th grade when it came out, and thought that sounds really cool, and then never saw it, never had an opportunity to see it. And then finally, you forget about stuff like that. And then because of the world of streaming, I watched it. And I don't know, could have been on Turner Classic Movies. I don't really know for sure, but I watched it like 2 or 3 years ago and went, holy cow, this is great. Now, I don't know why I didn't pick it right away, but I'm glad Chad did. And it is great fun, not particularly scary, although in the later scenes, when we get into some struggles, John Carradine goes big time for the snarling vampire. Which I thought was kind of good. I dug it. He's not that physically imposing or capable. So the way they had to play it, I thought came out pretty good. They played pretty fast and loose with the whole Western idea. I mean, Billy the Kid was not an innocent young guy that turned over a new leaf. He killed like 21 people, they thought, before he was killed. So it's just an interesting way that he's suddenly reformed and going to marry this the rancher's daughter. Anyway, I thought it was great.
They play fast and loose with the vampire mythology too.
Well, they do, and we'll talk about that at some point too. There's anyway, I loved it. I loved John Carradine. What I really loved about it was I recognize every single person in this movie, I think. I'm trying to think of somebody I didn't recognize. Maybe the Native American woman, I'm not sure. But otherwise, almost every character in this movie I recognize as having been on, doing the Bonanza circuit in the 60s, Chad brought it. They've all been in Westerns over the 50s and 60s. So anyway, well, that's it for first impressions. But what we do now, wait, Chad can't do taglines.
I can do taglines.
You gonna do them? Okay, good.
You think you got it?
I'll probably mess them up into something
So
even
we're
more
gonna do
hilarious
tag.
anyway.
Well, and there's we do a thing here, and it's because we're different, and there's a reason that we're different.
We're different, all right.
And the reason
You got 3.
Yeah, it's different. It's mountain groom. That's the richest kind.
I don't know.
I'm sorry. What?
It's different. It's mountain groom. That's the richest kind.
Oh,
Folgers.
Okay, it was lame. It didn't work, but all right.
I
It's
should have
taglines
went
with
with
Chad. It probably worked better after we get to Virginia Christine.
It's grown in the mountains. Okay. Your first tagline for Billy the Kid versus Dracula. The newest in terrortainment. Shakarama. See the greatest names in terror history in one big show. Why don't you?
One big show.
Okay.
That was an ad that went with the double feature. Jesse James meets Frankenstein and his daughter.
Which we did not see.
No, we did not.
Or this tagline might have been more valid. To me, anyway. The West's deadliest gunfighter. The world's most diabolical killer.
One of each.
I have a feeling that whoever writes taglines for Hollywood is immortal because the same dumb ones existed way back then as they do now.
It's still riding them.
Yeah. The Wild West, the land of gunfighters, shudders with terror when the most diabolical murderer invades it. Well, is he a murderer or is he a killer? Either way, he's diabolical. You need to make your mind up.
Diabolical.
Yeah, and that's been taglines with Chad.
He's grown in the mountains.
These mountains?
These mountains.
Mountain groom. That's the richest kind.
It's different.
Yeah, it's different. It's mountain groom. That's the richest kind. Yeah,
Okay.
it's different. It's mountain groom. That's the richest kind.
It's never going to end.
Just,
I watched like 40 minutes of those commercials, and they all have the exact same dialogue. Just a different person in a different house sometimes. Anyway,
just trying to force make it work. Maybe if I play it 100 times, maybe then they'll do
well, it's time for posters. This is the one we see the most. There's a color version of that as the cover of the Blu-ray. And Dracula, he's pretty terrifying.
Yep.
The diabolical killer and the deadliest gunfighter.
Pew, pew.
Pew, pew.
Yes, not the pew.
Your pews have no effect on me.
That's what he said.
And this is for the double feature.
Shakarama.
Entertainment.
Love the double.
That is just the stupidest made-up word that doesn't even.
Entertainment.
Terrortainment. Shakarama.
So who's in that?
I kind of want to see it now.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of want to.
I totally want to see it.
Jesse James.
Probably
Killers
the same
clash, roaring guns, raging monster. Okay, I dig it.
Shocked.
Okay.
Frankenstein's daughter.
So, That's
Yeah, but you're
double
not
feature.
Frankenstein, are you?
No. So
You're just his
this is
daughter.
Spanish version of a landscape or lobby card, I guess. On the top, the bottom one is another lobby card that just has the best expression from John Carradine.
She's having a heart arrhythmia.
They're so good.
You got
He's
caught
just-
red-handed. Whoop!
Well, he's just getting ready to. He's down there getting ready to bite her, and then people run in and go, "Wait, what do you think you're doing?" Then these are kind of odd. I found these on a website, and I'll try to put the website in the blog. It had Cavalcade somewhere in the title, but this guy does these sort of mock-ups of this isn't a real comic book, and he uses real comic books, and he tells you where he got them from, what issues they're from, and who the artists are. But I just thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's Tomb of Dracula 26. It's with Gil Kane and Tom Palmer doing the artwork. Is what he did, and then he got used Billy from Charlton's Billy the Kid.
There you go.
But the kid came from a different issue, and they changed the logo. So you used both of them smushed together, which makes it look cool. So interesting. I like it.
He does some other ones. I put the link up in our chat too. I don't know if you guys have a chance to look at them or not. If you scroll way down at it, that's where they are.
Yeah.
And then he did this mock-up of a Universal poster for this movie, but he made it all up. So it says starring Sam Neill, Emilio Estevez, and Gwyneth Paltrow.
Sam Neill as Dracula would have been awesome.
I know. And Emilio Estevez, obviously Billy the Kid, right?
Right.
So,
Which he kind of, he did Young Guns.
yeah. Gwyneth Paltrow, I think there's a reason for that. And that's I don't know if the guy running from him, if that's from a thing, but they obviously added the gun in the holster, it looks like. Anyway, fun stuff at any rate. All right. Every time I do that, I lose where I'm at. So let's move on to the fans who are the people that are in this movie. We've talked about John Carradine a lot.
Oh my gosh.
A lot.
Just stepped on a Lego.
Now, the bottom picture is House of Dracula from about 20 years earlier. Right?
Oh my God. 353 credits in his time. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He did a bunch of Universal monster pictures. He was in The Invisible Man, Bride of Frankenstein, The Invisible Man's Revenge, The Mummy's Ghost, House of Frankenstein, and House of Dracula. And then a whole long list of stuff. I'm not going to go through all of them, but he was in The Black Cat. He had a small part in The Black Cat from 34. Captive Wild Woman. He's got a pretty big part there. We're going to have to, and then let's see, Return of the Ape Man and Voodoo Man, I think are Bela Lugosi. And then Bluebeard is one of my favorites, so we're going to do that.
Bluebeard.
Near future, 1944. And you remember how in the 50s and Toho would make a monster movie, and then the U.S. would take their footage and put a person in it, like in Godzilla, they put Raymond Burr in it and had him sort of telling the story between stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, for Half Human, it was John Carradine.
That's weird.
And Half Human is one that's you don't hear much about it because it's I don't know. I think it's thought of as discriminatory against a certain tribe in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
racial, I think was a outright racist. I think it was portrayed as.
Invisible Invaders, which we did. An Edward Kahn movie. Horror of the Blood Monsters, Alan Adamson. He pretty much worked with everybody. The cat creature, a Curtis Harrington movie. The Night Strangler. I forget what he was on that. The second Kolchak movie.
Yeah.
Crash from 1976, directed by Charles Band. And then some 70s fare, The Sentinel and Shockwaves, which you've done both on the 70s.
Sentinel, yeah.
I love the Sentinel.
And
The
the
Howling.
Howling. Yes.
That's a
Loved
great
him in
role,
that.
too.
Mm-hmm.
The Monster Club, Frankenstein Island, and House of Long Shadows. House of the Long Shadows, I guess.
What a
But
guy.
Yeah, and he's great. And you can see in Bluebeard, you can really see what a good actor he is. He's not given a whole lot in the House of movies, although I love him in those. But I'm sort of geared towards Bela Lugosi as Dracula that it's, for me it's kind of a letdown, even though
Well, I think I think you could see his acting skills in this movie when he was doing the character of the parts of Dracula where it's very arrogant and just telling everybody what to do and just really haughty. He nailed that. I was just like, man, this guy is such a jerk. And he did such a good job just yelling at people and talking down to them and manipulating and lying. And I thought I did a really good job as that character, as that part of Dracula's character. And super creepy with the uncle stuff to Betty. And
she's 18 and
Right.
young and beautiful.
Don't mind me coming into your bedroom while you're sleeping.
Right.
Man, I would have shot my uncle if he came in.
Well, I love how in these pictures that I didn't realize how similar they're made up. The only difference is that red.
and the goatee.
Yeah.
And the goatee.
He probably had the
goatee.
outfit hanging in his closet from the House of movie.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. But this particular Dracula had far many more lines than other Draculas ever. Christopher Lee would complain about the lines he would have.
Yeah.
I don't think Christopher Lee, how many movies did he do Dracula? I don't think he had these many lines in all his Dracula movies total.
Yeah.
Probably.
But yeah, when he's not being Dracula and he's pretending to be the uncle, I thought he was really good.
Yeah, he was.
Because
By the way, we are screwing up the pronunciation. It should be Billy the Kid versus Dracula.
Dracula. Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Rewind.
It's okay.
Well, they don't mention. They don't mention.
A while back. I don't think he'll mind.
But they don't mention Dracula in the movie. They always
No, they don't.
They just call him a vampire.
They talk a lot about a vampire, but we put it in the title because
Well, I mean, and he looks
Billy the Kid versus the vampire.
Dracula.
Yeah, you put Dracula on it, puts butts in the
And then we're
seats.
going to dress him up like he was 20 years ago in the House of Dracula. So
Work. Not bad.
Where did he get that top hat? And one for the little bat form he wears.
I know. Where did you get that one?
sure seemed like it. I don't have any slides for him, but the director is William Bodine. This guy is a working director, over 400 credits.
Wow.
He directed over half of the Bowery Boy films. And he was well known as somebody that could do use minimal film and minimal shots. Like very efficient time-wise, editing and camera type stuff for Poverty Row Studios. But he did Bela Lugosi Meets a Brooklyn Gorilla. And also
I have
this other
not
one,
seen, but totally want to see with a title like that.
we mentioned The Voodoo Man and The Ape Man and Ghosts on the Loose, which I think is one of those comedies. I'm not exactly.
That's a Bowery Boys, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know.
I think it's a Bowery Boys.
Oh wow, he directed a ton of silent films too.
Yeah. No, he was pounding them out. He was good at that, and he didn't really. He was never worried about being artsy about it. He wanted to tell the story as efficiently as possible.
Yeah, it was a career path for him, not somebody that wanted to create art. He was somebody
Right.
looking for that check. I guess. I mean, looking at. I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at his credits. You know, he's just like you said. He's 10 movies a year. It looks like it's like crazy.
Yeah, I didn't go through all of them. I just found some that had some of the same people in them that we had.
Well, the first movie listed in Wikipedia is from 1913.
Mm-hmm.
So he's doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Did
over 50 years.
a whole lot of Lassie. Probably watched our share of Lassie as a kid, didn't we, Chad?
He did. He did several TV shows. I think, did he do a bunch of these people show up in Disney stuff? So I'm not real sure. You know, I may be getting this wrong, but
and he also
World of Disney 14 episodes.
Yeah, and he also directed the Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter.
Yeah.
And
4
Chad,
episodes of the Green Hornet.
yeah, I was going to say he didn't get to do Batman, but he did the Green Hornet. That's like adjacent, right?
Well, they did cross over, so I wonder if he did that episode.
Yeah.
If so, he's technically a Batman.
There you go.
Lots of TV shows. Broken Arrow was a well-known TV show. 8 episodes of that. Oh, Circus Boy, 4 episodes with starred Mickey Dolenz, and I think Noah Berry Jr. was in that.
Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees.
From the Monkees?
Yeah,
Yes.
he was Circus Boy,
Interesting.
little blonde kid. Anyway, The Adventures of Spin and Marty. Anyway,
Remember that?
He just does tons of stuff. So, and then Carl K. Hiddleman, the writer. I didn't find too much about him, but I did find that I shared with you guys. He directed 10 episodes of a 1956 series called Sheena, Queen of the Jungle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's bad.
It's bad.
I watched that episode. I linked for you guys. And oh my God.
I met her once at a convention.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Irish McKella?
Yeah. A comic company I worked for at the time was doing a comic book based on that character. And so she would come to the conventions to kind of help promote the book.
Oh.
And a really nice lady. Really nice.
Well, there's lots of Sheenas, right?
Yeah. There was the... what was that girl? She was
Tanya Roberts.
Charlie's aunt. Yeah, Tanya Roberts played it.
Gina Lee Nolan in 2000.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
What?
Oh, that was
What?
Predator. That was Predator. I'm sorry.
What?
Come here, monkey. Come here.
Oh, that was a TV series too. 35 episodes of Sheena in 2002. So anyway, yeah, I don't know why I'm talking about that except for Hiddleman. Hiddleman did it.
Yeah, it sounds like a show in itself. Hiddleman did it.
Hiddleman did it.
Okay, so let's
Starring Peter Falk as Hiddleman.
One more thing.
One more thing. I didn't do it.
Hiddleman did it.
So here's some more faces of John Carradine, and that whiskey salesman there sitting with him on the stagecoach. Shoot, I had it just a second ago. His name is, I don't know how to pronounce it, Cesar.
George Caesar.
Yeah, CISAR.
He looked like he'd been drinking his own hooch for quite a while.
Yeah, he's got 149 credits. You know, he's one of the less experienced people in here. You know,
149 credits.
Look how annoyed Carradine is in the middle there.
Yeah.
No. I love the widow's peak. We talked about that previously.
It's
The
so,
widow's
it's
peak is
so awesome.
Well, then the woman
love
in
it.
the stage with him, who is bringing her brother back to her ranch that her daughter Betty and Betty's boyfriend Billy the Kid are at, right? This woman that's the mother, she's just yakking away with Dracula, basically, John Carradine.
Yep.
And the guy, her brother next to her at some point, he doesn't say it that way, but it's sort of like, would you shut up? Quit telling them our life story, you know?
Doesn't want to hear all this.
Yeah.
Oh, and then there's the cave. A cave? He gets all excited about the cave and the 18-year-old.
The 18-year-old, a cave?
Is there room for me and an 18-year-old in this cave?
This gives it.
Oh yeah, well, you know, it was a silver mine, but we, you know, it's all run out now. But we managed to get rich before it ran out. Such a discussion.
Shenanigans going on. There's shenanigans, I say.
So this is when he's being a little. Those next two pictures, he's being a little more dignified. There, it's like when he's in the house. And,
Oh, he's manipulating people and lying to them in the bottom one. I think that's when
But then, well, he wants to put you in his spell.
Who
The
keeps
best.
leaving these Legos?
I know it's good.
I know.
But they do in the center one they have the lighting, and they do that like 3 or 4 times in the movie.
So
Yeah.
good.
His
Crazy
face
red
gets all-
lighting.
Yeah,
I know. It's so good.
yeah, that
The
top
music
shot,
goes.
in that top picture, I swear he's going. You want me to say what? Really? Anyway.
Now, when you say she's 18 and beautiful, we want a little more pervy
Yeah.
feeling to
Come
it.
on,
Yeah.
John.
Say, I would like to see her.
Oh man.
All right. Well, the object of his desire is Betty, who is was Melinda Plowman at the time, and then became Melinda Casey later. And she was a child actor. She was in some stuff like around the early 50s. And this particular picture at the bottom in black and white is an episode of Wagon Train, where she appears to be a teenager, and Noah Berry Jr. again.
I thought she did really good.
Yeah, she did.
I mean, you could have, like, initially, I didn't really know what to expect from what her character would be like, but she was really smart and strong and independent and was running the ranch. And
She wasn't
I
buying
liked
that vampire crap, though.
God, no. This is, no, she would have none of that.
This is the 19th century, not the Middle Ages.
Oh, come on.
What, Jeff?
It was a little bit of a good scene or a good plan Dracula had to have the Indians kill them all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everybody on the thing. So,
Mhm.
you know, that was a pretty slick piece of writing right there. Good twist.
Well, so they're on that stagecoach together. They ride into the Papago Wells, one of those way stations for the coach. Now, Doc, you said how the lighting was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I think almost the entire movie was day for night, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And
most of those were.
it was pretty bright. It was pretty bright nighttime, but that's okay. I figured it out. They showed up at the station, and were they going to have to stay the night? Oh, you're late. I'm like, it looks like broad daylight.
Mm.
But anyway.
Moon be casting some shadows today, man.
Yeah. He spots this Indian maiden, Native American. Who are these? Oh, they're just some. What does he say?
I don't know.
Which
He
one?
says, the stagecoach guy, William Charlie, says something like this band of Indians is wandering through or something. I don't remember. And Dracula spots this beautiful young maiden, and you notice how, okay, let's talk about vampire lore just a little bit. We know that he can he's like flying in with a bat, and he like when he gets to the window, it just goes, and he's standing there.
Mhm.
There's no smoke or melting
Transition.
for him.
Yeah.
It's just boom. Well, apparently he can move like that too, because he does that to her. She's looking over in the woods, and all of a sudden, boink, there he is, and he beckons her.
Went to the Jason Voorhees school of appearing in one place
Yes.
miles away in less than seconds.
Well, let's.
Yeah,
let's,
he gave her the mesma, and then he whooshed over there.
Whoosh.
yeah,
Whooshed
where did
over
I have
there.
this? Yeah. So the vampire lore. What do we know about the vampires in this movie?
Have 4 fangs.
4 fangs.
Yeah, see
He can run around in the daylight.
Native American bit with 4 teeth marks in her neck.
Still didn't get.
Well,
the
we don't know if it
job
was daylight or daylight.
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you say, Daphne?
Oh, I was just gonna metal kills him.
Yeah.
And then,
Wolfsbane works. Crosses work. Mirrors, can't see him in the mirror.
mhm.
We hear nothing about wooden stakes. So yeah, the top one is the woman in the wagon train that he got, whose mother and father are the Osters.
Became the fearless vampire killers after that.
Yeah, they pretty much. Well, the husband not so much, but
Yeah,
the mother.
Eva was fearless.
The
Or maybe not
father is like,
fearless, but
yeah,
so-
well, just be quiet. Let's get out of here.
Oh,
No,
mother.
we have to keep this from happening again.
I should have listened
and
to
then
my
the-
mother.
The
Yeah.
bottom shot there is Carradine putting the spell after he carries Betty to the cave.
Betty.
And he puts her to sleep so he can bite her, and then she's going to become one of the undead.
Mhm.
It was so close. So close.
So
If it wasn't
missed
for
it
those
by-
meddling kids, missed it by that much.
all right, and I don't
Can I
know,
just say it was just kind of I was kind of creeped out by the choice of a bed in the cave.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, so,
We're gonna
no, you
bed in
could
the
go with
cave.
the coffin. Could have gone with the coffin. It went with
red
the bed
velvet
with the
bed.
red satin. Yeah, and then
Or
talking
satin,
about us
yeah.
being together.
When did he put the bed in there?
What's gonna happen there? No.
We don't know. We don't know.
Make some sweet, sweet love.
Well, and here's the shot where we have to bring this woman up because she's awesome. The woman standing there in the middle in the bottom picture is Olive Carey. Is that correct?
Olive.
That is Harry Carey Jr.'s mother, and she plays Dr. Henrietta Hall, who we find out really isn't a doctor. She just was married to a doctor.
No.
I don't have no schooling, but I learned a few things hanging around my husband. So, but she's the one that reads in the book that you can't find him in the mirror, and they keep telling people to test him with the mirror, and nobody will do it. So finally, she walks in there. He's picking up Betty to haul her out, and now I think, is it possible? I mean, do you think? There's no way that John Carradine could have picked her up, I don't think.
I don't know. Maybe she was really light. I don't
know. That looks like him in the top picture, but right after that, in the middle picture, I don't think that's
Yeah.
No, it looks like a double.
Yeah.
They're doing some shenanigans there with the way the mirror's turned. So.
And she holds the mirror up, and boom, there's the woman suspended, and nobody's in the mirror.
Yep.
So now we know it's a vampire.
It's a vampire. Her first credit was 1912.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's awesome. She just has the greatest lines, and she says them just so bluntly.
Yeah, I liked her a lot. She was tough. I really like. I've been wanting to research more about the old women healers in movies and stuff like that. How they're always kind of they show up a lot, and
Mhm.
I was just thought, oh, she's one of those too. And it's in this Western horror movie where she is the older widow or widower and or widow, sorry. But I thought she did great. I loved her smart talking and showing up and telling the sheriff what to do. And
Oh, she straightens the sheriff
Yeah.
out. You know.
I know you look like a whoop dog, didn't he?
You're gonna slow me down. I'll have to take a wagon. You're gonna have to take a wagon anyway because Billy took your horse. Oh, you know. Yeah, so we had that. Let's see. I just don't know which way to go. Let's go back to let's see, Billy. Billy is played by Chuck Courtney.
He has 97 credits.
Oh wow.
97 credits.
But there are those other two pictures in the middle shot. He's in the Food of the Gods, where he's an early casualty. And is he stung by insects or something, Doc?
He's stung by a giant wasp, right?
Yeah.
A giant wasp or a giant mosquito. I forget which, but yeah, he's all puffed up.
Oh, that's nasty.
Bottom picture. Who is he, Daphne?
Bill Batterman, Mr. Baderman or Batterman, I can't remember how to pronounce his name, from Pet Cemetery.
Yep. Whose son
Pet Cemetery
was killed in Vietnam, and he takes his son
took him to the cemetery. Yeah. It says he was also a stuntman, Chuck Courtney, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Has 51 credits in stunts. It says here.
Okay. Well, I would say that he and Bing Russell's fight, that looked like they were the guys doing the fighting.
Yeah, it did.
I didn't think those were stuntmen. It also looks like him who does the fancy horse riding they always used to do in those westerns.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Does a little bounce.
Bounce,
Hold on to the side.
Yeah, jumps on the horse when it's running, and yeah.
Then he leaps on it from the hitching post at the ranch. I think.
Yeah. I liked how he jumped off the horse like right as or before it's stopping, through the reins, just kind of like around the log, and kept walking. It was like didn't stop for a beat.
So he did a bunch of the standard stuff. He was a rustler in the Cowboys, the John Wayne movie. And I forgot to mention Melinda Casey had 59 acting credits, but then also went on. She had 20 credits as a stage manager for some stuff. So she worked in the business for a while. Okay. Now you guys are in for my lecture. So Mrs. Oster in this movie, I'm going to show this first. And there she is with the red bandana and clutching the cross with a grim look on her face. Is Virginia Christine. Now, I know her. Anybody my age should know her because she was Mrs. Olson in the Folgers coffee commercials for a couple of decades, I think in the 60s and 70s. Every one of those commercials had a real jerk for a husband telling the wife, wow, you sure can't make coffee. And then she runs brokenhearted to Mrs. Olson. I just don't know what to do. Oh, coffee's not that hard. And it's always, it's mountain grown. Folgers, it's mountain grown. Oh, is that special? It's the richest kind. What's that, Chad?
I said, speaking of mountains, throw your old man off one.
Yeah. So, and she does the accent pretty good, and she's doing the accent here. So is her husband. I'm not sure if it's German or Swedish, Oster. But she's a favorite of mine for more than one reason. One reason being that she was born in Iowa, a little town about 20 miles from where I live called Stanton. And so there she is in the Folgers coffee commercial. This little town had a water tower that was dressed up like a coffee pot. And when they took that down and put a new one up about 10 years ago, they saved the coffee pot, put it up in a park, and then the new one is made up like a coffee cup with sort of Norwegian. That's got a name and I forget it. My wife could tell me. Can't think of it. But like a scroll kind of painting.
It is pretty cool, though.
It is. I think it's neat that they celebrate that. But go even farther back, some of her headshots or publicity photos, I guess, or she's a beautiful woman. And
Mrs. Olsen is a stone cold fighter.
Yeah, great smile, and she was in. And I don't know why I didn't remember this, but she's in The Mummy's Curse. These are publicity shots for that. And wow is right. Wow. And here she is in The Mummy's Curse. The top one, I forget the other actress's name off the top of my head. But in the middle picture, she's the princess that's been a mummy in the coffin. That's part of the story. That has how they always have a double or somebody that's that they possess. Pretty cool stuff. So I got to go watch that again. That's like the 5th of the 5 mummy movies, the Universal mummy movies, not counting Abbott and Costello, Meet the Mummy. And then the bottom picture, she's in Invasion of the Body Snatchers in 56.
Yay! She was really good in that.
Yeah.
That's my little spiel about Virginia Christine. I think she's cool. She was in The Mummy's Curse, and she played Princess Ananka, House of Horrors, a couple episodes of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, a couple episodes of Science Fiction Theater, episode of The Twilight Zone, episode of The Thriller, and then my last little bit on her is this is kind of a weird little coincidence. The movie The Killers was originally made in 1946, directed by Robert Siodmak, and featured Burt Lancaster, Edmund O'Brien, and Ava Gardner. And that's Virginia Christine there standing on the left with the hat on. And then was remade in 1964 by Don Siegel with Lee Marvin, John Cassavetes, and Angie Dickinson in those 3 leads. But Virginia Christine is also in that one. And there she is with Lee Marvin leaning down over her. And I believe she's the only one in both versions of that. The writer of the first one was nominated for an Oscar, and the writer of the second one is Gene Kuhn. Gene Kuhn, who did like 13 Star Trek episodes. All right, I'm done with Virginia Christine, but until we do like The Mummy's Curse, we'll probably not have another chance to talk about her. So I just wanted to kind of get that in.
Yes, got a crush.
I do. And another thing about that, we've got Billy the Kid emptying his gun. The doctor tells him the gun ain't gonna work, and he's like, "Yeah, he's not having any of that. Always worked for me." Empties his gun, doesn't even ruffle his clothes. Then the sheriff and the doctor come in, and the sheriff does the same thing. And then Billy, the sheriff saves Billy from being strangled by Dracula, right? He's being strangled and he passes out. And then he empties his gun into him. Then Billy grabs his empty gun and throws it at Dracula.
Yeah, that was good.
Hits him right in the head. That worked.
Yep.
That knocked him down.
Yeah.
That's where that whole trend started. When you're out of bullets, throw the
Just
gun.
throw the gun.
I know. My cousin actually did that once when I was a kid. He was turned around and threw his gun at us. Hit his sister with it. She went down kind of like Dracula did.
Yeah, he went down hard with
Yep.
that.
He did, and then he runs over and stabs him with a whatever that is, a scalpel, and bangs it in with a rock, and then the bat flies out and flutters over and falls in the field and dies, or in the trees, and then Dracula fades. You know, they do one of those. Oh, look! And he turns into a skeleton.
That's what I didn't get. Why did the bat fly out?
I don't know.
Yeah, that was a little
He
strange.
separated, didn't he? He separated.
Yeah.
Parts. I don't know. And then Billy and Betty clinch in the entrance to the cave, and the doc and the sheriff look at each other knowingly, grinning.
Oh.
He's crazy.
Oh God, I just love this movie.
I do too. It's a great movie.
It's
It
so
really-
much fun.
So, last thing you hear, the character actor. So the bad ranch hand who's always fighting with Billy and ends up getting shot by him is Bing Russell.
Russell, that's a name I've heard before.
Yeah, where have we heard that?
Kurt Russell. That's his father.
Really?
Yes.
Yes.
That's
yes.
Kurt Russell's father.
Oh, I
Yeah.
did not know that.
And
Wow.
Wyatt Russell's grandfather.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Wow.
I guess that makes sense, right?
It
Um,
does. It does.
but I just learned that I didn't realize this, but
I didn't know that.
that he played Vernon Presley in Elvis 1979, and of course Kurt Russell played Elvis Presley.
Uh-huh.
So
For John Carpenter, right?
for John Carpenter,
Yeah.
yeah.
So his
John
own father
Carpenter.
played his father. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh.
He also did. Bing Russell did like 59 episodes of Bonanza as the deputy. So there's another reason why it felt like you were watching an episode
Yeah.
of Bonanza
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
over
even
a
the
period of like 10 years.
stuff looked like a TV western. The credits, they were
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, everything did. Everything did. Yeah.
Oh, the closing music. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But westerns were huge in the 60s, right? Westerns were everything on TV, especially,
Oh my
right?
God. They were.
And Billy the Kid and the others, they were those type of characters were romanticized
Uh-huh.
quite heavily, beyond what they actually were.
That was Jesse James TV show.
Yeah.
Wyatt Earp. That was a TV show I watched quite a bit. A lot of these people were in Have Gun Will Travel.
I've got no trouble.
Another favorite. That's a show that holds up. That's
Yeah.
a pretty good show. So Bing Russell also. Let me find what I found out. He has a very interesting thing. Well, he was in Kiss Me Deadly. The famous noir with Ralph Meeker, and it's like science fiction noir. Tarantula, The Deadly Mantis, and then in terms of famous westerns, A Gunfight at the OK Corral and The Magnificent Seven.
Magnificent Seven.
A couple episodes of The Twilight Zone. He was in The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes, which I think is one of Kurt Russell's first
Yes,
ones, right?
that's one of
Yeah.
his, with Disney. Yeah.
A movie called A Taste of Evil that was directed by John Llewellyn Moxey. Where do we know him?
Right. I do recognize this name.
The Kolchak movie, the first
Oh.
one.
for a test.
I know, I didn't study.
And he wrote. Well, I thought you might be able to remember that because it's got
He
an
was
odd
in,
name.
yeah, I remember that now.
And it was written by Jimmy Sangster.
Cool.
I don't know these movies, but yeah. And the thing that's really cool is for me, so he owned the Portland Mavericks baseball club, which was the only independent team in the Class A Northwest League. And this is in the early to mid 70s. And he was a guy that came out with all these crazy promotions. And it just turned out it just turned into a huge, they were selling the team. They were going to move it because nobody would come. And he shows up there and starts doing this stuff. And they just turned it into a big boon, and it got really big. Well, then the other owners got together and basically, if I remember right, didn't like it. because he was making him look bad. So I think they changed the rules, and I don't know if he sold it fairly quickly or not. But Kurt Russell played minor league ball a couple seasons, and I believe he played for his dad's team part of the time. So anyway, and he was a baseball player too early on. So there's a documentary out there, and I didn't look it up. I can't remember the name, but it's all about this whole relationship. And there's a lot of Kurt Russell talking about growing up as a kid and his dad and him doing these training films for little leagues and stuff, that they would sell. So that's a whole interesting thing that I never knew about until I started looking into Bang. It's a cool guy.
Seems it runs in the family, acting.
And then Roy Barcroft was the sheriff. He has 385 credits. I'm not even going to begin to try to list them off, but he probably plays that character in 100 of them. The sheriff. And then in the bottom was Marjorie Bennett. She plays Mary Ann Bentley, the Betty's mother, the owner of the ranch. She gets killed, and 216 credits. The William Challey, who plays Tom, the station agent, had 155 credits. He was in Alfred Hitchcock, Wyatt Earp, Wife and Legend of Wyatt Earp, Have Gun Will Travel, The Texan, 3 episodes of The Adventures of Superman, 10 episodes of The Lone Ranger, just on and on and on. And one of the Twilight Zone episodes he was in was The Grave, the one that takes place in the West and also stars Lee Marvin, James Best, Lee Van Cleef, and Strother Martin. It's like one of the best, and it's there's something about going out to some grave in Boot Hill, and it'll grab you and pull you in. And Lee Marvin's talking big, like he doesn't believe in it, so he goes out there to show them all up. But it's a great episode with these character actors. Anyway, so love me some Bing Russell. And I didn't pull any pictures, but I kind of blew it when Harry Carey Jr. was on Gremlins, and we forgot to mention him.
Oh yeah.
He's strange.
And so I wanted to talk about him a little bit here. 158 credits. His father was an actor, Harry Carey Sr. Died in 1946. Harry Carey Jr. had 158 credits. He was in Gremlins. He was in Exorcist 3. He was in Back to the Future Part 3. He's in a movie called Euphoria, which I need to watch. It looks like it might be kind of funny. He did 10 episodes of The Magical World of Disney from 58 to 73. He did 12 episodes of Have Gun Will Travel. He was in 9 movies with John Wayne. He was also part of the John Ford's sort of company, right? And I don't know if you guys have ever seen The Three Godfathers. Have you ever seen that?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great movie. It's a great movie. These 3 outlaws are trying to escape, and they come across a baby kind of out in the middle of nowhere, right? And they can't convince themselves to leave it. So they try to take care of the baby and take it to civilization, and they do stuff like, they put axle grease on his bottom from the wagon. It's just great.
When you said The Three Godfathers, I thought you meant the Francis Ford Coppola.
No.
Like,
No.
I was going, I don't remember Al Pacino doing that.
It's a great movie. Harry Carey looks really young, Harry Carey Jr.
It was
I'm trying to think of what else.
when that happened. Yeah.
Oh, and also he was married to Paul Fix's daughter for like 60 years. And Paul Fix was the sheriff on The Rifleman, who was in lots of stuff. He's been in other movies that we've done. I did look it up, but anyway, there's tons of stuff about Harry Carey Jr. We'll probably never do another movie that he's done because maybe in the 80s, but I don't think he was in any other ones in the classic era. And he just has a bit part here where he runs in and goes, "Hey, the stagecoach was hit. Everybody was killed."
Follow
Anyway.
me.
Right.
One of those guys I love. You just see him everywhere. But, when you watch old westerns, my dad always watched John Wayne westerns and old westerns on TV. We watch them all the time, and so that's one of the things that always takes me back to my dad, I think.
This would have been one of the movies that I could have got my dad to watch with me that had Dracula
Yeah.
Might have.
Western, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I could have fooled.
We'd be watching that stuff, and he'd be going, "Oh, there's old Harry Carey Jr. Oh, there's old Roy Barcroft." He knew all these people's names. That's what I think maybe got me into it.
My dad, "Oh, there's that old one-eyed guy."
That too. So, guys, we got anything else we want to say here? Waxed. Sorry, I just get too excited about this stuff.
Yeah. Give this
That's
movie,
great.
give this movie a chance.
Heck yeah.
It might have a strange reputation, but it actually is much better than I would have thought it was going to be. I'll admit, I kind of groaned a little bit when this came up. I was like, okay, I know we're going to do it eventually. Okay. But then I was watching, I was going like, wow. And I think a lot of fans who maybe haven't seen it will have the same reaction.
Gives it, makes you think it's going to be a silly
Mm-hmm.
thing, you know, and it's the premise is silly, but it's
Yeah.
good. It's really good and it's really fun. And hopefully if people that know me would know that I just don't say that if I don't like something, I know it. And I really did like this.
It is a lot of fun. It's so much fun.
For me, this time around, the big surprise was Olive Carey. I just thought she was awesome. And I don't know why I didn't pick up on it the last time I saw it. I don't know how I couldn't. She was great. All right. Great pick, Chad. So we do have feedback. We got lots of feedback, so we're just going to start off and we'll stop after a little bit because we don't have time to read it all. The first one is on episode 83, The Incredible Shrinking Man. And Jose Luis Herrera Lepron.
How did I know?
So, who wants to? Chad, you want to skip the reading of these this time, or
Skip the reading tonight.
okay?
Intently.
Let's go with Doc for The Shrinking Man.
Oh, all right. Jose says, classic film. Matheson's view on the sexual tension is spot on as Scott shrinks and becomes less manly. I didn't catch it as a kid, but I do now. And that ending, it justifies our existence. We all matter, no matter how small we are. It's always great to see William Shallert and Raymond Bailey. The title theme with its trumpet solo is great. And the crash on Tam Tam Gong at the climax is great on the Tam Tam Gong. Because it's not Tam Tam Gong. I don't know why I said it like that.
Well, I didn't know what a tam tam was. I had to look it up.
I shoved it all together. The Criterion Blu-ray looks good, but I think there is some DNR at work, and I have the UK release as well. And when his wedding ring falls off in the car after they discuss the impending experience, great stuff. There is a good deal of split screen here. Most of it well done. There are some traveling, I think it's supposed to be traveling mats or traveling. I think it's traveling mats, right? Which are not as impressive. Whoops. His lack of shadow gives it away. The large scale props like the pencil and the matchbox and the paint can are very well made. The traveling mats in the scene in the doctor's office with Raymond Bailey, Dr. Drysdale, are incredibly well done. And it's true. The bigger he gets, the smaller he gets, and the bigger everything gets around him.
Raven Bailey is Mr. Drysdale in the Beverly Hillbillies.
Nah. Okay.
And also, I have two of those because for a long time this wasn't available in the U.S. as a Blu-ray, so I bought like a Spanish version.
Oh wow, Spanish one.
For a while, and then when the Criterion came out, I picked that one up. All righty. Thank you, Jose. And Jose comes up again. Daphne, can you take this? 84,
Sure.
The Curse of the Werewolf, a Hammer film.
Another one from Jose. This is one of the few Hammer horrors I haven't seen, and it's sitting under the Christmas tree right now. So I think I need to get on that. Yay! I hope you saw it. Yeah.
Do it, Jose. Do it. Back before. Well, never mind. I won't. It's a good movie.
Yes.
All right. So
It's all to
92
read.
Tales of Terror from Jose. Doc? Or
All right.
You want me to
Okay,
go?
go for it.
I Love Me by Roger Corman Poe Films. This one is a lot of fun. The Black Cat, Cask of Amontillado Secrets has so many quotable lines, many of which feel to me to be ad-libs by Laurie. Could you see your way fit to help a moral cripple? The Case of M. Valdemar segment is pretty creepy. I'm friends with David Frankham, who plays the doctor in this last segment.
Oh,
And
nice.
He's a very dear man, still going very strong at almost 98, and loving doing the convention circuit for not only his films, but also his TV appearances in the original The Outer Limits and Star Trek.
Cool.
And by the way, Jeff, I love Vincent Price too, but you aren't the only one who thinks he's a little hammy now and then. Well, there are times when he's really out there acting, but there's some of these horror movies, I feel like he's just doing the same thing. But this is the one, The Cask of Amontillado. Isn't that the one where Peter Lorre is basically a drunk?
Yeah.
And Vincent Price is like the...
He's like the wine connoisseur.
They're supposed to be great wine test. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he thinks Peter Lorre's
He's the one who goes.
a plum.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Peter
Great
Lorre is
performance by him.
Thanks, Jose. All right, Doc, 93. Quatermass.
Quator mass. No
Very
R
good.
in there. All right. Did I get that right? All right. Jose says, good film. When I saw it on DVD in the late 90s, I realized that I had seen it as a child. The image of the skeletons in the mud at the beginning and the huge image of the Martian over London at the end. I think the central of this one is fascinating. And I bet it caused some controversy around the time of the 58-59 serial, on which it was also made. I did manage to find the serial, which is excellent on DVD, but it was a bit tricky.
Well, I did too, Jose. So, well, that's one where I'm watching the Scream Factory Blu-ray, and I think, well, I don't want to. I'm not going to name names because I can't remember for sure who was doing the commentary, but they ended up spending a significant amount of time arguing about whether the movie or the series was better. And I'm like, I wanted a commentary about this movie. I don't want a commentary about something I can't see. Right? But then I went out looking for it. And there was a British Blu-ray at the time, which I bought. And that is also when I bought see, these rules are so weird, but the Blu-rays, other people already know this already, I'm sure, but you can get an all-region disc, but you can't get an all-region Blu-ray player.
Right.
Okay. So a Blu-ray player in the U.S. plays A, right? Regions, I think, or region ones. I forget when they change them. The all region ones will list like ABC on them, the discs. So they'll play on a Blu-ray player from any of these places. But you can buy a Blu-ray player from a third party that someone has hacked in some way. and there's a code you punch in on the remote that'll play it in the other regions.
I thought you could get an all region
Yeah, they do make them.
DVD players.
They make them on every.
I don't think so. Either that, or there are DVDs that are regions, because you can't. I thought mine was all region player, but there's a difference between. And it slips my mind now, but there's two different terminologies. Okay, one is region free.
Okay.
And one is all region. And so when I was looking for them, I could not. I found places that said, it's against the holders of the Blu-ray specifications that you can make them that they can't be played they can only be played on a region B player. So I'll try to look that up again and see if it's changed, but I don't think so. It was, and so I bought a Blu-ray player exactly like the one I owned from a third-party source. It cost twice as much, and came with a little piece of paper that said, "Press these two keys, and you'll be able to play these," and it works. So that's how I watched I believe it was a Blu-ray of Quatermass in the Pit series, which is really good. So
yeah, I heard people talking about that when we were doing the movie, that how good the series was, but I still haven't seen it. So I was just looking this up because I know that we had a DVD player that could play all Blu-rays from all regions, and so I think that is the region free player, which you can get for about $200.
is that made by
This is Sony BDP BX370 region free player. I only know because the store that we got our region free player, I didn't know there was a difference between region free and the other one. They still exist. They're an awesome video store called Scarecrow Video, and they also sell region free players.
I'm going to have to read it some more because there was something. It may have changed, but and this was probably 3 years ago. Okay, Chad, wake up.
Yeah.
We're
Sorry,
moving
Chad.
on. Well, that was mostly so somebody that knows what's going on can maybe make a comment for us. I'm going to look it up sometime tonight, probably.
I sent you a link to the Scarecrow post in our little chat here.
Episode 96. What time is it? We'll do a couple more here. Strange Seed. Well, that was your pick, Daphne. You want to take that one?
No, I think it was Whitney's, but I'm happy to read it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, another from Jose. My mother and I used to love watching this when I was a kid. It was on one night on a little local station. About 10 years ago, I found the Warner Archive DVD and watched it, and it really did not hold to me. I'm afraid this was one that just didn't age well. Henry Jones was great as Leroy, but I thought Eileen Heckert as Mrs. Hortense Daigle was just way too over the top.
Oh, I loved her.
Mrs. Daigle is,
I got to tell you, this is, I love people that are into this stuff because this is how I bonded with my mother. I watched Strange Seed.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Seventh Victim. Episode 97. I am going to read this one.
Okay.
From Jose. My absolute favorite Luton film. To my frustration, it's one of two, the other being I Walked with a Zombie, that aren't on high def yet. How this film was released during the war is astounding to me. It's so dark, its themes so touchy, it's a miracle. The contrast between Jacqueline and the consumptive prostitute, one who is living but wants to die, the other who is dying but wants to live, is so striking. I get more from this film the more I watch it. Yeah, it's one of my, it's right up there with my all-time favorite films. I think Cat People it probably ranks right with Cat People for me. It's just such a strange film, and the cinematography is just phenomenal. All righty. Island of Lost Souls, and this is the last one we're going to do today. Okay, because this is one I wanted to get to. So you take this one, Doc.
Okay.
From Tony DeGrasantis.
Tony DeGrasantis says, I just discovered this channel. Thank you. Hi. I was searching for a movie in black and white that I would say is similar to Island of Dr. Moreau or Island of Lost Souls. I saw it in 1976, and I just remember at the beginning of the movie, a storm on an isolated island. Maybe they arrive in a submarine. In the movie, there is a lion with wings. I asked Bing to help. Bing, I think the website, right? Not like Bing Crosby or
not Bing Russell.
Bing Russell. Sorry, I just had to do that. But could not get an answer or get the right answer. So I challenge human knowledge. In the case of some of your network could help, someone in your network could help me find what this movie might be. Grazie. And we replied from Gruesome Magazine. One thought from Mark Grue is Latitude Zero from 1968, but it's a color Japanese movie. It does have a submarine and a winged lion. We will ask about it on the podcast for other ideas. Jeff. Tony replies, ciao, Jeff. Happy New Year, and thanks for the fast answer. I checked the trailer, but it's not that movie. In my souvenir, it's, which I imagine it means different than what we think a souvenir is, or I'm mispronouncing it. It's something similar to Doc Monroe Island of 76. There's a previous version of 32 of Submarine, Lost Island, but it's neither of those movies. Thanks again for your help.
Okay, so anybody out there that can think of a movie that fits that description, we know it is 1976 or older, but probably older because it's black and white. Let us know.
How many movies?
I'm looking at you, Wes Diorio. Anyway, well, one last one here from Jose. Fantastic little film. He's talking about Island of Lost Souls. Lawton is so morally bankrupt and smarmy, it makes me feel like I need a shower after watching it. That shot of him explaining his plan while nonchalantly stirring and sipping his tea while slowly approaching the camera. Ugh, yuck. Totally agree. He is just nasty in that. All right, we're going to stop there. We got a bunch more, but it's only so much everybody can take. You've probably already signed off already. So there's lots of ways to stay in touch. You can leave comments at Gruesome Magazine YouTube channel, at the Gruesome Magazine website, or the Gruesome Magazine and Gruesome Magazine's HNR and DOH podcast Facebook group. So please, we love comments. Love hearing about your experiences and your ideas. So that's it for this episode, but every 2 weeks we'll be focusing on a specific film released between 1920 and 1969. Next one is chosen by me, and it is called Beyond the Time Barrier.
Ooh.
From 1960, directed by Edgar Ulmer, starring Robert Clark, who was the star of The Hideous Sun Demon. I dig it. I like it. And this is also on, I believe, Classic Sci-Fi Movie Channel.
Cool.
So there's a reason why I picked that movie. Because they travel into the far future to the year 2024.
Oh.
The far future.
And it is quite different. So anyway. Geez. Well, that's it for tonight. Sorry I went on so long about Virginia Christine and Harry Carey Jr. and Blu-ray players.
I don't think you should say sorry.
I just can't help myself.
I, on the other hand,
Thank you both for sitting through all this, and thank you, Chad, for picking this. God, what an awesome movie.
yeah,
Yeah, so good.
It is available on Blu-ray from Kino Lorber, or you can check it out on the Classic Horror Movie channel and Canopy, I believe it was on also, as in terms of good transfers. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
buddy.
Good night.
Gruesome Magazine.